Gamesline, Solon here at PAX again, and I'm here with Cabel, who runs all of Panic, this entire booth.
Well, lots of people work on the booth,
Put this whole thing together.
Yes, and I did not build any of it, but yeah, this is our home for PAX. Yeah,
this is a huge home.
Yeah,
and,
it is.
And you've had homes at PAX over the years,
correct?
And they've all had a lot of spectacle and eye.
Yeah,
when Untitled Goose Game was coming out,
I have such good memories.
I do too.
Of PAX and Untitled Goose Game.
That little cozy little bench that people would sit on,
and then crowds of people behind it is cheering on. That was an amazing time. I will never forget it. Yeah.
So over the years, now you've come to a point where you've got hardware,
correct?
You've got a whole bunch of games that you're looking at. How did that all come together?
Just a normal company that makes Mac apps and handheld gaming hardware and publishes video games. I don't know. It's very hard to explain Panic, which is why I wrote all this copy around the booth in case someone wants to read and understand our company. But yes, we've been around for a really long time. So yes,
you write stuff. Right. Just be like, please, just read. Just understand me.
Please, someone just read it. There's been at least 3 or 4 people that have read all the copy, and it has delighted me. But yeah, you know, Panic, we've been around forever. We started making apps for the Mac, and you know, you do something for a while and you want to do new things. So game publishing happened kind of on accident, where a friend of mine had worked on the Walking Dead games for Telltale, and they wanted to do their own thing, and that ended up being Firewatch, and we ended up publishing Firewatch. That was a great experience. It felt really cool to be on the supporting side of something instead of the making side of something. So when we saw the trailer for Untitled Goose Game, we just reached out and said, hey, in fact, I printed the email on the wall. It's just like, do you need a publisher? And that worked out, and we ended up publishing Untitled Goose Game. Yeah,
you've just got like games history on the walls.
It's very strange. So after those two, we kind of thought, are we doing this publishing thing for real? If so, let's do more. And so we brought on Nick Sutner and Alyssa Harrison, and they're kind of the team. The games team is very small at Panic, but we're looking for cool titles that we can support, and that's what's here at the booth today. Yeah,
we talked to Nor. We talked to DJ earlier.
DJ is amazing. That game is incredibly interesting and cool. And boy, thank goodness you're here, which is extremely funny British humor video game. And video games are rarely funny. I don't know how you feel about this, but like they try to be funny, but they're often not. This one is actually funny.
I was seeing that too.
Good. And then Arco is our most video game, and that it's like a strategy game, real time, and you know, there's stats and numbers and choose weapons and that kind of stuff. But
you're diversifying your portfolio with
exactly
video game.
Correct. Into the video game. At last, we are publishing a video game. But I think people understand it, and it's beautiful and fun. And then there's Despelote, which is,
I love Despelote.
I'm so glad to hear that. I think it's incredible.
I've been seeing it for years.
Yep.
And in all of its stages that I've seen it in, it's just like, of course I want to play this.
Yeah, and I've never quite experienced a game like that really made me feel like it's
autobiographical.
Somewhere else. Yeah.
Ecuador, right?
Yeah,
it's
correct.
Ecuador,
Yeah, it takes place in Quito. It's like the run-up to the World Cup. It's how soccer just, you know, enveloped everything in the town, and all the dialogue is recorded naturalistically. It's not lines of script. It's they would go to their friends and family's house and just record conversations.
Right.
And you feel that, like you feel like you're this kid in this place. It's amazing.
I feel like that's a lot of what Panic is about. Is these embodied experiences.
Yes.
In a lot of ways.
I think that's true, and I think that we look for things that make you feel things, be it make you laugh or you know, make you connect with another place, or that. We spend a lot of time trying to figure out what is the through line of the games that we publish, and it's challenging. But I think that's a big part of it. Yeah,
it's about that embodiment. Yeah. So how do you find the games that you're looking for? It sounds like you kind of throw emails out to folks.
Sometimes we spot them and scout them, and sometimes they're just cold emails to us, and you know, we're constantly trying to figure out what our process is for evaluating them. It's really hard. I don't know how other publishers do it. Like, let's say I'm looking at a game that's just not my cup of tea. You know, my instinct is to bow out of that decision. Like I've never played this type of game, and for whatever reason it doesn't resonate with me. Am I qualified to make a decision on if we should publish it? Like, it could be meaningful for someone else.
That's a good point.
It's really interesting and complicated. So we just basically talk a lot, and we're trying to improve that process more and more and more. We also can't do a lot because we're a pretty small company.
That's kind of what I was thinking too, is that you've got these huge games,
right?
And you're trying to make them as big as possible, but also there's only a couple of you.
Yeah, totally. Panic is kind of infamous for doing a lot with a little, but that has limits, you know? So we'll never be, you know, one of those giant publishers that has, you know, their slate of 50 titles for the year. I think like a few a year feels pretty good to us right now.
A few a year sounds massive.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It does to me too.
I'm trying to like undersell this. This sounds crazy. I know we're in PAX and like there's a bunch of these publishers, but like everyone who's putting out 2 or 3, you know, titles a year, I'm like, that's crazy.
Well, there can be like a weird kind of imposter syndrome where it's like, I always feel like we're not, like I was just saying, making Playdate, our hardware, took us a really long time. And then we can talk more about Playdate. It took us 6, 7, maybe 8, maybe even more years, but we had never made hardware before. No one was crunching. It was like 3 people, you know, like at some point, it's weird being in this industry where so much of it is like go, 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 pressure, 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 grow at all costs, and that's not who we are. So that can make you feel weird at a show like this, but then if I step out of that for a second, I do, it's the way to be, in my opinion.
So like there's this metaphor of like, you know, the fishes and ponds, you know, being a different size. You are definitely a fish, but the pond that you're in is big.
Has an enormous pond.
You know, you publish games, and that's a big pool.
Right.
Now you're making hardware, and that's a big pool. So people come to see the Playdate, and they have expectations of what a handheld console should be.
Totally true, yeah.
And so how do you negotiate that while you're, you know, talking about the Playdate?
So Playdate's really interesting in that it is a device of contradictions, right? It is. You have a black and white screen, so that automatically sets one set of expectations, which is usually retro gaming. Right. But it's got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and this like season of games. It's very modern in many ways.
Its storefront I found was like really modern.
Yeah,
and how it has just like
catalog.
A full catalog that you like scroll through, and there's $2 or $3 games, and you're like, I like the look of this $2 game, and then you just cook it and you buy it. That's an entirely modern process.
100,000%. Yeah.
That is not something that I would get on other, you know, handhelds. And even on my phone, it's hard to do that.
Just trivia: catalog is basically 2 people, 1 person on the back end, and then 1 person on the front end. Then Nevin does the art. So very small team again. But catalog was added because, you know, all of these games showed up for Playdate. I think there's like 600 on itch.
I think there are 2.
Yeah, we probably need a way to sell these to people directly.
I think one of the things that I run into when I'm looking at the Playdate and talking with friends about it is mostly that Playdate is definitely a console with game developers in mind. And a lot of that actually doesn't necessarily translate.
That's true. That's interesting.
You have so many accommodations that the like end user is not going to see at all.
Yeah, that's very true.
And so
that's a really weird part of making.
When I talk to game devs, they go, "Oh, I love Playdate," and then I talk to players, and they're like, "That thing's weird. I don't get it."
We do get a lot of that thing's weird. Yeah. However, I will say that, you know, for every that thing's weird, there's definitely a type of person that like gets it right away, and they're like, you know, I play mainstream video games all the time, but I also like taking a break from that. I like having this thing in my pocket that's got a puzzle game that I can space out with, or if I play mobile games, this thing doesn't show me notifications, you know, like it's like this, it's a really interesting space. We never had delusions of grandeur. And I think there's a weird thing in this industry too, especially among gamers, where everything's a competition, right? Where it's like, I hope Nintendo beats Sony, or I hope Xbox beats whatever. And so I think some people hopefully really got right away that we are never imagining that we are the number one it's like this thing exists for people to have fun and be delighted and play fun games, and it is its own thing, and that's a strange place to be, because there's not a lot of stuff like that in the gaming world. It just doesn't really exist. You're either really big or you don't really exist. It's great for developers for sure, and we put a lot of work into making it easy for anyone to make a game for Playdate, because we knew that was critical. If we're gonna have this device, it has to be really easy for anyone to make a game, and we also wanted people to make games that had made games before. And that, to me, that's been the most rewarding part. We have this whole thing called Pulp, which is like a web-based game making tool. So you don't even need the SDK, you don't even need to know code. You draw tiles, you animate characters, you make music, all in your web browser. You could use a Chromebook, and
then it just publishes a Playdate.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of games in catalog that were made in Pulp. They're selling this game. It's really cool. And
I love that idea.
Yeah, so that's important to us.
It's hard because consoles are a global market.
Totally.
And what you're making is a much more local thing.
For sure.
But because of the mesh that is the internet, lots of you can do that.
Yep. Yeah, and again, putting a game in catalog, it's not gonna, you're not retiring to an island anytime soon. But you made a game and you published it in a store, and someone can get it for a store. The barriers to do that on a Switch or a PlayStation or Xbox, I love those consoles, and everybody's very nice, but that's hard. That's a hard jump. So,
and for a person who makes games to see that game in their hands
it's super powerful. You got it. Even just saving that file on your computer and dragging it to your Playdate and holding it is amazing. So, if nothing else, this isn't a charity. Obviously, we have to make money too. But if nothing else, if we can bring some people into this world, maybe they make a Switch game next. Maybe they go whatever.
Yeah,
that'll feel great to us. So, how do you explain that to people? It's very tough, but I do think there's so many wonderful experiences to have on the Playdate that I hope the people that are like, that's weird, I hope that they can push through that feeling and try it. And that's why I think we have long lines of people trying Playdate here at the show. So
it's been so accessible here.
I'm hopeful that means there's more and more people, not just early adopters. I'm hopeful that there's a nice audience.
So what's next for Playdate specifically?
Well, let's see. We have more awesome games coming out, including Lucas Pope's new game, Mars After Midnight. So
Lucas Pope, the developer of Overdin.
Yeah, Overdin, yeah. Yes. His next title is a Playdate title, which is kind of amazing.
Wait, that makes sense? Wait, hold on.
I know.
You have a monochrome design for your console.
You see it. The pieces are fitting together for you. Yeah.
The monochrome guy's like, ooh, this is for me.
Totally. Shoot. But how cool that Lucas is. He just loves the device and is pouring his heart and soul into this thing. And so you can play it right over there. I'm gonna be
so mad if you have an app, a flagship app killer, totally. You gotta get the Playdate. Lucas Pope's on there, and I'm like, fuck, you're right though.
Fine with me.
Yeah, you're kind of right.
Let me cross my fingers.
Oh.
So that would help us. And then we've got the stereo dock thing probably coming out early next year, which is like a little place to hold your Playdate when it's on your desk. You can see it over there.
You want to bring it over? You can show it.
I'll grab it. Elizabeth, may I see that for a second? Thank you so much. How did you hear that? You're like magic. So this both a Bluetooth speaker and it charges your Playdate, and of course it's a pen holder because for some reason I don't know.
What do you mean for some reason? You made it. You can't say for some reason.
I can't. I'm allowed to say for some reason.
Wow, you are a Willy Wonka kind of guy, huh?
I feel like it right now. Where's my cane and my
you just stick holes into boxes.
And now it's a pen holder. Or
it is really nice.
Somebody came by and said they really wanted to put a little test tube in and throw a little flower in the. Well, because don't pour water in the hole. Please don't pour water in the hole. Please.
You could put propagated plants.
Oh, you totally could. Also a great idea. Propagated plants. Just don't void the warranty. That's all I'm trying to say.
Right.
Yeah.
So it has a knob on top.
Yeah, that's the volume knob for
because it's a speaker box.
It's got the bass port on the bottom and
it just charges your
Playdate. Secret information: this thing does not have the standard key wireless charging. It actually charges through the pins that make contact with the screws.
Smart.
Yeah. Why not?
That's just good engineering.
Yeah, That's just good engineering. That's our slogan now. Can I steal that?
You
That's
can have
just
it.
good engineering.
It's just good engineering.
So that's coming out.
I've had so many problems with wireless charging.
Oh, me
stuff,
too.
so-
It's kind of the worst, right? Sorry for stepping out of frame. Yeah. But that and just building the platform. That's our goal. Get more cool titles, find more people who have never heard of Playdate. We've never advertised or marketed it ever. So
Other than your videos explaining what it
correct.
is.
Other than our own videos, correct.
Yep.
Yeah, so no paid advertising, I should say.
Exactly.
Yes. And just see what happens. I think that's kind of the vibe now, is like, we did it, we made it, we shipped it, we made the store, now let's grow. So we'll see how it goes.
Same with Panic, right?
Yeah,
What's next for Panic?
That's true. Getting these games out the door, probably not too much more to add to our plate until we get some things off our plate.
Yep.
But
I know Nora's like next month.
yeah,
Or it's
Nora,
like in a couple weeks.
actually like 10 days. Yeah, very soon. And
And
many of
the
these are
ones
next year, and so yeah. And I think we'll just keep doing this. We'll look for special things that we can support, and as some things go out the door and make money, we'll use that money to support more things. So it's just a very classic business in that way. Capitalism. Yeah. So-
Why yellow?
Oh,
What's with all the
interesting
yellow?
question. We wanted it
Brandy's
to
asking-
stand out.
Brandy's asking a good
We
question
wanted
here.
the yellow to, this thing needs, if it's beige, no one's gonna go, what's that, right? But actually, if I'm being fully honest, as a bit of a Famicom nerd and a lover of the Famicom disk system, very obscure piece of Nintendo history, the yellow is exactly Famicom disc yellow. I actually had a little color sampling device, put it on a Famicom disc and said, yeah, that's the color.
That's the one.
That's the color. So now you know.
And you see it come out, and it looks very striking.
Yeah, and funny trivia about the color question. One, we got an email from a guy that said he was riding the tube in London and saw someone with a Playdate and didn't want to, interrupt them or ask them any questions, but literally Googled yellow handheld, and it was like the first thing that showed up. And I'm like, all right, we did
Maybe
it.
Google does work.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, for
Fine.
now.
Okay. That's wonderful.
Thank you for
I really love
asking these great questions.
I just love your outlook on
Thank you so
how
much.
to get games into a larger space, and
That's the dream. People want to be a part of this world, and if we can help them, that's
I
all we
feel
wanna
like
do.
that comes through in your games.
Thank you.
In the games that Panic puts together,
Thank
or,
you.
helps publish, it's a lot of games that are about embodiment, and it's a lot of games about human experiences.
Yeah, thank you.
And just seeing you also thinking through that at the level of who you work with.
Yes.
It's really inspiring. It's really
means a lot
inspiring, and
to me.
I hope that a lot of other people can see this.
Thank you.
And be like, I could be a publisher.
Yeah.
I want to be a publisher like this.
Totally.
And then you could be a role model in that way too. And I think that sounds amazing.
And we're happy to offer advice to anyone that wants to do this stuff. So very approachable. But it's really nice of you to say that, and I know that will mean a lot to the folks that are working on these games. And yeah, I believe that they will find their audience and resonate with people. And and we can just go as long as we can. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what's next year? You're gonna have what's the next step above making your own console?
Yeah, great question. I don't think
just
there's much left.
The Playdate VR, just something, some Star Trek something.
The holodeck.
You made a holodeck. It's just
we're working on it. We're working on it. No, we're not working on it.
But it's very exciting to see.
Thank you, and thank you for coming by, and thank you for your interest in what we're doing.
Yeah,
It
thank you
means
for
a
your
lot to me.
time.
Thank you.
And have a great rest of PAX.
All right, good luck. See ya.